TK here. Kind of a new concept coming for you today. Today we're going to be bringing a show, or I'm going to be bringing a show to you called That Mead Show, or it's a concept for a show I'm trying to out called That Mead Show. It's kind of like a Mead news show. Do a little bit of meadery updates, a little bit what's going on behind the scenes at some of the meaderies. Talk about some bottle releases. Um, Talk about club openings and memberships are opening up at different meaderies and whatnot. If they got quarterlies, if they got annuals, when those types of things will pop up, we'll try to talk about that. One of the other things I want to talk about is homebrew competitions and commercial competitions as well, but mostly homebrew competitions, and see if we can't get some people entering in some competitions that maybe not have that have maybe not entered competitions before, and also get some competitions, some spotlight in case there's low entries, and because I know a lot of these competitions, if not the vast majority of them, are ran by volunteers and stuff like that. If they don't get enough entries into these competitions, it might not be worth their while to continue to do the competition. So let's make sure that we can. I want to help to make sure that we can continue to grow the competition scene and make sure that we get enough entries spread across um, the different platforms and different regions and stuff to to bolster all the numbers for all the different things. Plus, if you enter a competition that's got low numbers already, man, that's just ups your chances of winning already from the jump. So um, definitely be focusing on that some of the times as well. We focus on some events that different meteries are putting on, big national events or regional events, and even down to the local level events. If it's something that's like cool and sparks my interest and or piques my interest and sparks joy and all those cool things. Um, let's see, different types of. Oh, we talked about different events they could be doing at different meteries as well. Different like live events, D&D sessions, gaming sessions. Mix all that stuff in there as well. So we're also going to be doing live mead reviews during the show as well, or that's the plan to do a live mead review, either from somebody who sent one in to us, or from one that I've purchased somewhere along the way, something that's been traded, something like that. But get a review going in, get that all in the mix and everything like that, like I have been doing previously, but get it all kind of just streamlined into one show. And then one other thing I was talking about focusing on was different. Going a little bit deep dive into the different features and features and different guidelines and everything for the BJCP mead judging criteria and everything. So let's go over, what it takes to be a still mead, what it takes to be a sweet mead, what it takes to be a dry mead. Let's go over the numbers. Let's just give a little more knowledge to those who might not have it already, because those guidelines and stuff aren't always the easiest thing to find online. I know you can go to the BJCP website, um, and sometimes you can download it there. Sometimes you have to kind of go through this process. Sometimes it's posted, sometimes it's not. But we just give everybody kind of a little bit of a little insight on the different features of the BJCP style guidelines. So to help you tune in your meads and make sure you're entering them into the right categories, make sure you're assigning them the right labels and organization to it and everything, because you don't want to lose out on a competition. Like everybody always says, you don't want to lose out on a delicious mead that you threw into a category because it doesn't fit into that category. It's not supposed to be in that category. I've seen it happen too many times, and I haven't been to that many competitions, so that's saying something. And then lastly, one of the things I talked about thinking, I did not plan for it today, but I talked about doing, maybe throwing in some like mead cocktails, and then maybe even bringing in some people to like do a quick little interviews and little inside like the mead maker studio type things, little 10-15 minute quick get to know you, answer some questions and stuff. But we'll play those last two by ear, but definitely want to stick with like the news related stuff, the industry related stuff, mead comps, BJCP uh, styles and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and strike. Strike my got some little accent I didn't know I had coming out there. Let's go straight ahead and get into the news feature piece, which I lead off with that because that's probably going to be the least interesting thing that everybody wants to see. Maybe I should start off with the most interesting thing, but I like to get into the news because I find it really interesting. And I'm hoping that you do too. So, first thing I want to talk about this week, and I'm actually going to try to make this a weekly feature of the news segment, is bottle releases. So, I'm not going to be focusing on bottle releases that are, or releases that are not bottles. So every week, um, tons of meaderies drop different draft choices, different tap room exclusives that are only for pours and stuff like that. And there's too many of those. I could do an entire like half hour long segment on just those, going through them and whatnot. So since those aren't available to the vast majority of people, we're going to go ahead and unfortunately skip those. While they do deserve their own time in the limelight, that can be for somebody else to do. But what I'm going to do is focus on the bottle releases and the stuff you can get online, shipped to your house, either via Vino Shipper directly from the mead makers themselves, or via Osner or Tavor, one of the purchasing apps that they ship directly to your house as well. But it's a little bit of a third party thing, obviously, for different reasons. But we're going to make sure that you have access. I'm going to make sure that anything I talk about, you have access to get, or at least it's available online through multiple platforms. Now, if you don't live in an area where they ship to, man, there's nothing I can do about that. But this is going to be the way to get the most amount of people the most information about what bottles are released every week from the most mead makers that I have access to. So now, if you know somebody that's releasing a bottle in a week, in the week coming up, and you want to get them some shine, you're not sure I may see it, please go ahead and do send me that information. I would love to be put on game for any of the bottle releases, so I can make sure to work them into the new segment. So with that underway, let's go ahead and just get straight away into it. Let's go ahead and share my Elliott release window here. And so now y'all can see what I'm working with here. So this week, and all these few Instagram pops up here are all meaderies that have had bottle drops within the last week that are all again, excuse me, again available via Vino Shipper, Osner, or the Tavor app. So the first big drop this week is from Manic Meadery. They're out of Indiana. This is going to be on a Vino Shipper and the Osner as well. This is their yearly Elliott release. So Elliott is their big blueberry mead that they do. It's their big flagship. Tony and Keith have been making that for a long time. It's like a staple in any mead collection, as far as I'm concerned. It's just a great daily driver blueberry mead, and it ages well, and it's great to take to parties and having a collection and all that stuff. So that's this guy here, the blueberry Elliott. So he's got the other variants. Elliott's Revenge is a blueberry with habaneros. I've had that one. It is very well balanced. I'm not typically a spicy mead guy, but the habanero and the Elliott and the blueberry, the Elliott blueberries do go very well together and are complementary. So if you're into the spicy, definitely give that one a shot. Now we got some other variants here. This is a new one here. I believe this. Oh no, this is a blueberry vanilla one. That's vanilla Elliott. That one's another staple from his collection. I believe the two on the ends, yes, are the new ones. So we have a coconut Elliott. So that's with toasted and raw coconuts. I believe that one. Yes, that one is new. Yep, that one's not the other. There was one. I could have swore there was one that had raw coconuts, but I digress. And then the other big banger one is the vanilla toasted and raw cashews one. Now this one they did have at the Sugar Belt Mead Festival. I did get to try that one. I highly recommend that. Those are all super limited releases on those variants. I'm not even sure what they have available. You know what we can do though while we're here? This is the benefit of being live. Let's go straight to see if we can't find. Let's see what's gonna be the best route to go about this. Let's go search here for Manic Meadery and go straight to their. Ooh, it's not taking me to their website. Oh, let's go this route then. Go to the website. Let's pull their Vino Shipper up right now and see what's still available. One thing I am a huge fan of Manic. Anybody who ever watches my stuff knows that I wax prolific, and they're probably my favorite meadery in the country for several reasons. Their stuff is all awesome. They do a variety of everything from dessert sweet to bone dry and everything in between. um, Beer, wine, mead. All right, so it looks like we've got Elliott's 20. Look at that, $25. A lot of these cats are at 50, $60 for some of these bottles. Elliott 25, vanilla Elliott 28, Elliott's Revenge 28, coconut Elliott's only 20. Oh, but okay, notice that is only a 200 ml bottle, so that's 24. So that does go up to, I'd say, probably about a 32 to $34 bottle if it was like a 375. And again, 28 on the cashew Elliott. So those are definitely a little bit more on the spendy side, but I would say honestly any of those are worth their grab. The fact that they're still available right now, I believe, is absolutely crazy. And you can believe on my payday, I will be buying at least one of those if they're still available. So definitely scope out the Elliott grab from Manic Meadery. Those are, I believe, those are once a year drops. So once those are out for the year, you're pretty much SOL till next year. So another one that's big drop in sugar belt status again. Standard meadery's got the Departure Batch 2. It's usually Finer Things Club, or this is a spinoff of their Finer Things Club bottle. It's blackberry red currant with orange blossom honey. Now, this is going to be an Osner drop only. They're $34. Now, with the Osner, you have to have somebody there local to pick it up. Which this one you're lucky just because they do allow proxies for this one. I'm sure if you just throw up down here in the post in the comment section or something, I'm sure there's tons of comments where there's people finding proxies and whatnot. There's ways to find those proxies. If you're even that interested and you can't, are unaware of how to figure it out, get a hold of me and we'll find out a way to get you one of those bottles from Standard because that's some good stuff. Here's a big one that I was kind of surprised to see. So Chubby Cheeks Meadery out of Temecula, California. Um, these guys are doing their bottle club is open right now. It says not a member yet. It's super easy to join. You can just ask your mead tender or sign up online. So this is their bottle that they're releasing for their Q2 of the membership. Says aged over 2.5 years in a Sauvigny's barrels and finished with pluots and plums. So it doesn't say what kind of honey you use, but I did confirm with Jake right here. You can see, is this club open to members, people out of state? And he says, yes, we can ship you your bottles if you can't make it to their party. So every quarter they have a party. You pick up your bottles, hang out, chill with the other club members. That's cool if you're here in the SoCal area. If you're not, though, they will ship you those bottles, which is cool. And I've had a number of his stuff, probably about a half a dozen or so, and I'm a fan of Jake's stuff. So if you're interested in a kind of undercover one that not a lot of people mess with, definitely scope out um, that Chubby Cheeks meadery membership. If I could talk there. Another bottle release coming out from Wildflower Meadery. I believe they're out of Texas, and I'm pretty sure I checked that this one is available over on the Vino Shipper. It's their unbirthday cake, so it's like their black tea, lemon black tea type of Texas tea mead type of thing. But the unbirthday peach one, I guess, is the big drop. It's been previously unavailable in bottles, only on draft until now. I guess it's been an overwhelming um, amount of people that have been just hitting them up for it. So yeah, go over there and scope that out if you're into those tea looking meads and or tea tasting meads. It looks phenomenal from here. I mean, it's like crystal clear looking. I like the design on there. That um, the old school Alice in Wonderland, from the original novel with the drawing and everything, and the Mad Hatter. So definitely down with that. Let's get back over. Stop screen sharing for a second here and see if I can't go back over to my screen. All right, so what I'm going to do now, get back over into that bottle share real quick, but I want to pop open a mead and get into a quick little mead review because I wanted to give my man Peter, I'm going to butcher his last name. I made sure to bring it up here on my phone though, because I've been talking to this guy for quite a while, and I owe Peter um, a huge, I don't even know what to say, thank you and a huge apology and a huge, fist bump and care package and everything. So Peter, way back in, I would say, what would you say, Mom, January or something, when he sent this mead, my man Peter sent me this bottle of mead. I was in Georgia at the time. That tells you what it was. You can go back in my stories, everything, and see where I was at in Georgia. What time of year I was in Georgia? I want to say it was um after New Year, so maybe it was around Valentine's Day. No, wasn't quite Valentine's Day. It was before that, so it was back in like January. Say it was in January. Peter sends me this mead, reaches out to me on my Instagram, says, "Hey man, I watch your YouTube channel and follow you on Instagram. I'd love for you to review one of my meads." Here I am, red faced and flattered, and for about 4 hours I stood there with my jaw on the ground that somebody would just reach out to me out of the blue like that. So when I got my composure back together, my man um, Peter. I bumped the thing, so it went away from his last name. It's Ruvalcaba, Ruval Ruvalcaba, but I'm sure I butchered that. But my man Peter here, if anybody wants to follow him over on the Instagrams and whatnot, I highly suggest it because he's a cool cat. But that's my man Peter right there. I don't know if that's a good, you can see that well. So my man Peter sent me this bottle. So he said that this is one that he'd been working on. He asked me if I've ever had cranberry blossom honey. I said I've never even knew that that was a thing, cranberry blossom honey. I mean, I guess I could have put two and two together, but I had not had it and had not, previously been aware. So he says, I got a cranberry blossom mead here that I'd like you to try. And it is also made with red currants, no, black currants and Wisconsin cranberry honey. So this thing started off. The original gravity was 11.99. He said it finished at 11.02, and he back sweetened it up to 11.42. I think it says 7% ABV on there. The labeling, the paint started coming off there. But first of all, I love his little potion bottle that he sent it in, and yeah, so it says 2 TK on there. I can't for the life of me read the ABV, but it says residual sugars 369 grams per liter, which is that's a lot of fucking sugar left over in this thing. Um, so I've been dying to crack this thing open since then. So here we go. Ooh, that cork just popped. Oh my gosh. That is very cranberry right on the nose. Holy cow. And I was expecting the orange blossom or not orange blossom honey, the currant to take over the cranberry. But no, I'm definitely getting heavy on the cranberry pour or nose. Let's get a quick pour on that. I love that glugging sound out of this little potion bottle. So, all right, here we go. So, before I get into the taste, let's go over the name real quick. So the name is Ungulant, Ungulant, um, which is I'll pull my phone back out over here because I'm going to get it wrong if I don't. It was a one of the old gods from uh, the Lord of the Rings or the Hobbit book, the J.R.R. Tolkien universe, and it was a giant. Here, the primordial talking. It was a primordial from the Lord of the Rings series, but it was a primordial taking the shape of a giant spider. But basically, it was created some really crazy darkness. I can't remember. I didn't, of course. The one thing I didn't do was read up on this ahead of time. But if you go read the backstory on that, it plays into why Peter named this mead what he did. And so I've actually been hijacked. I just handed my wife a glass, and I really wish she would have took this glass and give me. There we go. I want my honey pot glass, so I will pour her some because she is very eager for some of this. And that bodes well for me because my wife is super persnickety. Like I thought I was persnickety. Oh, what's up, cat? Super persnickety, and she's even more so. So the fact that she's wanting a second round on that is boding well. All right, so first we'll go with visual appearance because we look at it first. No floaties, no particulates in there. It is this deep, like maroon type of hue. There's no like not really any purple in it. It's just like this, all these dark reds, crimson, um, like blood red type of color. It's very currant, red currant and cranberry. I think are two good colors to describe it as well, since that's what's in there. So I'd say if you mix those together, whatever that color you want to call it, that's what color it is. It's actually so heavy. It's looks like it's staining the glass with the legs as well. I mean, not just the bottle. It's the legs are staining the glass. This is like ultra concentrated legs for days. I'm giving this thing uh, a solid 6 out of 6 on the visual appearance. I mean, there's no bubbles. It's not uh, carbonated in any way, shape, or form. It's got a very brilliant refractivity on it. It's like a mirror-like finish on the surface. The meniscus on it is Clear-ish. I imagine it's probably because it's been sitting there aging a while that it's kind of starting to take on a little bit of like um, a rust color hue to it, a little bit of like a maybe oxidized color to it, but I don't smell any oxidization or see anything on there. But it definitely has like that kind of reddish hue to the meniscus as well. Usually that's not clear at all. I mean, that is just red. I didn't say copper. It's just red. All right. Like I said, nose heavy on the cranberry. The cranberry is like I would almost think it was a cranberry mead, with some the tartness in there. I guess kind of blends. Black currants are pretty tart in there, and the cranberries are tart as well. But I would have guessed a cranberry mead straight away over top of the black currant mead. But it's not like overly tart. You can get the sweetness character in there, but it definitely feels like the nose is it is berry first, honey in the background, um, not too overly tart. It's I'd say it's very well blended. Nice complexity to it. It doesn't have one flavor that stands out. It doesn't have anything pungent or funky about it. No flaws. Again, aroma. I'm gonna give this thing a. I'm gonna give it an 8 on the aroma. No reason to not give it a good score. Again, 6 on the visuals, so we're good there. All right, let's do the old. Let's get down to it and do a taste. Ooh wee! That is wow. So it's a wave of sweetness on the front. You get cranberry. It's almost like it's literally like if somebody had taken some sort of like wildflower honey and like put cranberries in it and like flavored it cranberry wise. It's just like a true cranberry flavor and a honey sweetness, and then that washes away, and it's this wave of cranberry and currant tartness. It gets you right in the salivary glands there. It gets you a nice puckering going on. You can see I definitely had a little bit of woo happening, and that is man, that is phenomenal. Has a wonderful heavy mouthfeel to it. It's thick and warm, warming with because of the alcohol, but it's not cloying. It's not syrupy. It feels like a heavy, nice dessert wine. And I'm here for every bit of this. So the flavors are again blended well, strong in the city. I don't get it. Man, go back. Let me test it again for that tannic presence. I was too not paying attention the first sip. I was gonna say if I would, per my own personal request, always that if I was gonna be picky about anything, I would bump up the tannins on it because you definitely get a nice wave of sweetness and honey, and then a nice bit of acidity to it. So not to say that there's none there. There's definitely some that came from the current skins and whatnot, but I would say to balance out the other two, get your nice, your pyramid, your sweetness, your your sweetness, your acidity, and your tannic presence. Keep your Triforce, your Zelda Triforce, in balance. Just keep it a nice. They call that as. Now I forgot all my triangles. But let's keep it a nice equilateral triangle and not make some sort of scalene triangle or some crazy big old obtuse fat angle triangle. Let's make it all nice and balanced so it doesn't offend anybody. And this one does that phenomenally. So I would say I would give this one a solid 20 overall. I'm at an 8. 8 and 8 is 16. 16 and 20 is 36. 36 and 6 is 42. That's a solid score for that, Peter. I think a 42 has taken many a gold medals and many a blue ribbons. Um, I I can't think of any other way to, like I said, other than maybe bump up that tannic presence a little bit. I can't think of anything that I would do different to this. This thing is, if it had that tannin thing to me, that'd be a solid like 46, 45, 46. And again, those are winning, those are taking medals all day long. So big thank you to Peter out there for sending this in and being um, the patient jovial being he's been and waiting for this review. So cheers to Peter. Reach out to him and tell him your awesome stories about your cool meads and cool honey flavors. The dude is a blast to talk to, and he's just a cool cat. So cheers to Peter. Boom. Thank you very much, my man. Oh my gosh, that's some good stuff. All right, so let's get back over. Share my screen again. Oh, maybe I shouldn't. Well, yeah, I guess y'all gonna be reading my. Let's turn off notifications for Google Chrome right now, just so we're not dealing with those while we're sharing our screen. So I know there have been people that have been popping in and out, so appreciate that. Even though nobody's watching right this second, maybe somebody will see it in the future. All right, next drop of bottles this happening this week, or that happened this week that you should probably be aware of, from Fantastic Meads. They've got two bottle releases that have never seen, two new meads that have never seen bottles. They've only ever been draft pours there at the meadery. So this is one called Bicycle Seats. It's a collab with Pie Road. They're out of Tampa. So it's cherry, chocolate, vanilla, banana. So I'm guessing that's going to be like banana split ish type of realm. Um, some would say it's stupidly balanced. It's so balanced, it's stupidly balanced. I love that. Um, and then we say, just call me old fashioned. So this is a mead featuring Luxardo cherries. Those things are ridiculously expensive. Almost black in color with traditional uses that are used in traditional old fashions. That's these cherries right here. So those are Luxardo cherries. Those things are mad expensive. So with the balance of sweetness, this meat is excellent on its own, or even in a simple, even as a simple syrup. So um, go over onto, I believe they're on Osner. Yeah, so those ones went on Osner earlier this week. So if you're not on the Osner, it's an app um, called Osner, OZNR. I don't have it pulled up here. I guess we could go show you real quick just so we're all on the same page. OZNR app, Osner. I'm just gonna see an image of it so you know what app you're looking for. So yeah, that's their logo. It's like a whale. You know, they say that the big bottles, the big heavy beers, the big seekable stuff is they call those whales. So that's your Osner app. They do it by breweries, by state, and everything like that. So look it up. You'll not only find Funktastic on there, you'll find, or some of these other cats I'm talking to. There's beer breweries on there, and I think there's other kind of there might even be spirits and stuff on there as well, like craft spirits. So go check out the Osner app. You have to work your way through it. I've never really used it. I haven't had an opportunity or a need yet, but it is available, and it is something, again, works through that proxy system. So as you can see down in here, people go down into the comment section in search of a proxy, and there's people that'll reply and whatnot. So um, find yourself a proxy, get yourself some of that, because that's the only way to get it. And then, another one I wanted to talk about, and this is actually kind of some Mead news as well. So Weird Leather and Mead Works, Leather Works and Meadery, Weird Leather and Mead here. They're up in Portland, Oregon, and my man Travis has a couple bottles here that are marked down for the entire month of June, and it's a collab with the band the Bridge City Sinners. I didn't know that he did or I forgot that he'd done a collab with those guys until I saw this again. And that's a great deal. So these are 750 bottles on top of that. And I don't often, um, I'm often sketchy about 750 bottles, but any of these ones that he does these collabs with the bands, the bands are a part of the flavor design process and everything like that. So they're definitely something you should always check out whenever you see any of those types of collabs from these guys. So this one is called the Cinnamon Sin, spelled with an S, cheeky and corny, which is a hot cinnamon one. And then the other, the Brimstone Black Cherry, is obviously going to be a black cherry mead. Um, a little bit of light on the black cherry color for me personally, but I'll bet the flavor is on point. Um, Plus, my man Travis just got full ownership. He's a one man wrecking crew over there. I think he's a solo owner and everything like that. So if you don't follow Weird Leather and Mead, go give them a follow. Get yourself some discounted Mead attached to some cool bands. That way, if you meet them up, they're your jam. You got a bottle that can sign it and everything like that, because those cats love to do that. And then also, say, hey, congratulations on the meadery acquisition and all that stuff, because he's now I can only imagine where the meat's going to go. The meadery's going to go now that he doesn't have to have anytime you got more hands in the pot, that's always more decisions that are getting made, more chefs in the kitchen, all that jazz. So I think you should really streamline their process. I think it's weird leather and meat's gonna be doing some crazy cool stuff. And then, oh, okay. So then back into announcement section, or well, I guess I'm technically still in the announcement section. So Sugar Belt, Beeline to Richmond, Virginia, coming out in October. I want to say it's on the 21st. Yep, here, October 21st, 12 to 4 p.m. at the Answer Brew Pub in Richmond, Virginia, hosted by Funktastic. So Sugar Belt, if you're all watching my live stream, or if you've seen any of the posting from any of the meaderies. Sugar Belt is the largest mead festival in the country. Takes place uh, in mid-May. Just happened a couple weeks ago, and there's like 25 meaderies there, a couple breweries, and it's just a gigantic heck of a good time for of a meat festival. Well, it's in Indiana, which is kind of the center of the country, so they decided that people that got together and that were, some of the meaderies and whatnot, decided they wanted to get a second one going that kind of like travels around. Well, the first year is going to be Beeline to Richmond. Next year is going to be like Beeline to a different city. So the first year is going to be Funktastic, and they're going to be hosting it over at the Answer Brew Pub, as I just read. These are the meaderies that are going to be there: Haley's Honey Meadery, Funktastic, Capitol Hive, Four Fires out of Ohio, Pie Road. Now Brulahan, now that's going to be one of the big draws there. I'm expecting Brulahan to be probably the probably the biggest draw besides uh, Funktastic. And then of course Manic's going to be there. They're the it's their whole festival and everything like that. They got Maniacal Mead's going to be there. Silverhand coming up. The Buzz Meadery Saba out of Miami. I love those guys. They're probably one of my favorite meaderies right now. They're just crazy wild flavors, unique profiles, stuff like that. Blackheath Town, Township, and then Burnt Barrel Meadery out of Missouri. So definitely. Oh, and even got a couple others. Oh, there's the sponsors. Answer, Teza Kitchen, probably going to be the people serving some food there. And and there's a really nice restaurant right next door and everything. So I highly suggest checking out Sugar Belt Be Like Richmond. If you didn't weren't able to catch the first Sugar Belt or any of the other ones, and you're going to get to it, this is a phenomenal option. I think the tickets are probably even a little bit cheaper than the ones that they were before. I don't know. He doesn't have the price on there, and I don't have the link set up. But I would highly suggest going and checking out the Sugar Belt Beeline of Richmond as something really cool to do uh, coming up this October. So that is all I have planned for the news segment. So we'll pivot over, and I'll probably flow a little better the more I do these things. Let's go ahead and stop sharing real quick. Go another sip of the old cranberry mead. So as I was saying, if you just popped in and didn't catch the earlier mead review, I did do a review of the Ungalant, Ungalant, Ungalant. Um, it's a black currant cranberry mead from my man Peter up in Wisconsin. It's a Wisconsin cranberry honey and black currant mead, I should have said. And this thing is phenomenal. Started at 11.99, finished at like 10.42. He back sweetened it up to like 11.43 something. My notes. I got a cat laying on my notes, so you have to forgive me for a second. Started at 11.99, finished at 11.02. Back sweetened it up to 11.42. So as you can see, it's dark, which I believe has to go in with the name of a character from the Lord of the Rings, J.R.R. Tolkien universe, which is where that name comes from. But this is phenomenal. It tastes like just true cranberry. Like there's no cranberries in it, it's just a cranberry blossom honey, and I get a phenomenal like actual like cranberry presence, cranberry juice type of flavor presence. The black currant's phenomenal in there. Great mead. Reach out to Peter. Maybe he does some trades. Maybe he does some hooking people up. I don't know, but definitely reach out to Peter if you're interested and see what he says. Because it's delicious. So as I stated, got the news segment done. Me starting in, coming in, figure I'll do the news segment first. work a review in, depending on how many stories, how many issues, whatever we're talking about news wise. Do the review, finish off the news, and then I wanted to break into a little bit of a homebrew competition that's going to be available for that are still taking entries that are coming up relatively soon, in case people got stuff that's ready to go and they like, I'm not sure, I haven't because when you go to like the BJCP website, it just lists competitions. It doesn't say which ones have mead festival, or which ones have mead at the competitions, which ones, what categories they have. I mean, it's just a list of names. You have to go click through it, click to the website, and then if you're lucky, it takes you to the comp website. If not, then it takes you to just like the website for the organization for like the event, and then you have to find the competition at the event. It's a whole thing. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and grabbed a couple of these ones here. Let's go back over to that window and share that so y'all can see what I'm working with. So the first competition that I had stumbled across between there's a couple of Facebook groups that I cruise, and then like again like the BJCP competition calendar. These ones were ones that are coming up that have entries that are coming due either relatively soon or they're still available. But it's definitely all of these are accepting mead at their competitions. And if you do home brewing as well, home beer brewing as well, then I think at least two of these ones are beer style accepted as well. So this one is the first one I'm talking about, the Brew Ridge. Mm, that's a tongue twister. The Blue Ridge Brew Off, which is, see here, it's going to be taking place Friday, September 8th. We've got, session, see, session one. Oh, judging sessions are Friday the 22nd, and then Saturday the 23rd. Judging would probably happen on the 23rd after the afternoon set, or awards will probably happen on, I would assume, Saturday after the third session of judging. There's going to be a lot of styles available there, as you can see. But the important part that I'm always talking about right now for that mead show is the mead categories here. So you see, they got dry, semi-sweet, sweet, sizers, pie mints, berries, stone fruits, melomels, fruit spice or spice herb, vegetable, braggots, historicals, experimentals, pretty much everything in the BJCP category. There's an total entrance limit of 250 for for the entire competition. They are currently at let's go back to their front web page. Usually tells you how many they're at. It does not tell us how many this particular registration is at. Huh. Missed it on the info page. Nope, it is not on there. But they're $8 an entry, which is nice because that is one of the cheaper competitions that I've seen. But and again, it's not telling me how many are your entry. I mean, you're limited to drop offs, registration closed, registrations open, styles hyperlinked. Yeah, it means you got special category or special causes. Oh, here we go. 6 entries per person at 250 total. So, I mean, even if you entered all 6 entries at $8 a pop, you're looking at still less than $50 for entry fees. Now, I understand you still have to ship it out and everything like that, but nonetheless, that's 6 entries for less than $50. That's a pretty darn good deal for a competition. The next one I run across was Your Honey or Your Life info. Your Honey or Your Life. This is the info page. Your Honey or Your Life. This one is based out of Portland, Oregon, and I like this one because this one's only got 32 entries and only 16 paid entries. So right now you're only going up against 16 other cats, and who knows what categories those those people have even entered. This one I believe is a Mead exclusive. It is a Mead exclusive style competition. So they got all the regular suspects there. So 5 entries per person. Your entry is limited to 1 per sub category, so only 1 dry, 1 semi-sweet, 1 sweet, whatever, yada yada. Number of bottle entries, you guys send them 3 bottles per entry. This one is taking bottles through July 13th, so you've certainly still got some time to get those in. Ship them to FH Steinbart up there in Portland. Follow all the rules for shipping and everything like that. There's the award ceremony taking place August 5th. Judging takes place on the 29th of August or of July, so that following week will be the judging and everything like that. So again, you only got 16 different cats that have entered this one. $10 to get in, all the mead categories. The last one, Fermentation Frenzy 2023. So this one is taking place in let's go over here. Butler County, at the Butler County Fair. I did not see what state this is in. Oh, it's an AAH competition though, which I understand. But so I'm not sure what state it is, but you come through on here and go through there. I'm sure they'll get you all the information where to send your bottles and all that jazz. Again, $10 entries. Entries going in through July 9th. So you still got about a month, just under a month to get those in. Got all the beer styles and again, all the mead and cider styles um, being entered on this one. 2 entries per person, up to 150 entries for the competition. And where are we sending them off to? So this is in Ohio somewhere. So Dayton, Ohio, Cincinnati, Ohio. Get your bottles in to Ohio if you're interested in entering the fermentation frenzy. So stop sharing that. Come back over here. So that's pretty much how the TK and Drinks mead, that mead show, a couple of those segments, how those are going to work. I'll get my feet under me a little bit more. It's been about 6, 7 weeks since I've been really doing live videos on a regular basis. So I appreciate y'all putting up with my and stums and stammerings and stutterings and all that jazz. So we'll get back into the flow of me being smooth like butter, and it'll be fun for everybody once again. So I've got more interviews coming up in the coming weeks. So those are always fun. I've got 3 interviews scheduled throughout the rest of June, and I'm peppering them in through July and August as well. So hopefully some big hitters that you're interested in looking at and talking to and listening to, because I know I am. So thank you guys for joining me today on the TK and Drinks That Mead Show. Let's go over our test sheet, our test run sheet one more time. Make sure we didn't forget anything. Oh, I didn't pull them up on there. I guess we can go pull them up real quick and see what's on there. So there are a couple events I did want to talk about. Let's see if we can't get back over there to the, yes. So let's get back over here. Let's go searching for Honey Pot Meadery. So this Sunday, which I believe is tomorrow, the 11th, there's a couple different places. So they're doing a Learn to Play Dungeons and Dragons. So there's several meaderies out there that have gaming groups and have Dungeons and Dragons groups and table games and game nights and trivia nights and all that stuff. So I'm going to try to focus on some of those things as well. See, here they had a Smash tournament back in May. So if there's a meadery that you follow or that you're a part of and you want to get your information out there, please reach out to me, TK and Drinks, here on Instagram, TK and Drinks on Facebook, or tkanddrinks@gmail.com. Send me a message in any of those platforms, and I would love to be able to feature your events, your competitions, your whatever you're doing, whatever you got going on. Let me know, and I would gladly feature that on the TK and Drinks That Mead Show segment. So let's go ahead and stop sharing. Let's get back over to me here. This is my bright, smiling face. Yeah, so I had a lot of fun doing this. Like I said, still get my feet under me how exactly I want the show to go. But if I don't start doing it, I'll never get that part figured out, and I'll just be mulling around in my head. So, reviews, news, about meat events, news about new bottle releases, news about openings and closings of any meaderies. I do have some mead interviews. I'm talking with some meaderies that are going to be opening up pretty soon. One of them is to be Illumination Meadery. Illumination. They're opening up in Buffalo. Inside Mortalis is opening a second tap room, and they're going to be part of that whole operation. So I'm interested to know how that goes and how that whole thing comes to fruition, because that's going to be very unique situation. And I've got a couple other cats that I'm talking to. Some big cats. Pyro got their interview coming up. These couple homebrewers that I ran into at Sugar Belt called Crush'em. I actually did a mead review of them a couple years ago. So I'm going to talk to those guys. Excited about that. So And then we talked about a couple of the different competitions, the fermentation frenzy, the your honey or your life, and then the brew off, the blue brew crew, blew off, brew off. I can't remember the name of now because the Blue Ridge brew off. So enter those some check those competitions out if you're looking to get some bottles out because they look like they had some relatively low numbers. As we all know, it's easier to take medals when you got less competition. So thank you for being here and watching me on the TK and Drinks That Mead Show. I hope to see you for the next one and the next one after that and into the future of mead shows. So I hope to see y'all again. Like I was just saying, have a good rest of your night.